Chris Duffin and Coach Brandon here, and we're going to talk through hacking the split squat. That's right, hacking the split squat, because it can be used for so many things depending on how you use it. It's a very valuable tool. So we use it for a number of areas. We use it as a movement preparatory, we use it as a rehab tool, we use it as a corrective measure, and we use it for just getting stronger. So lots of different ways you can use it. As a corrective, it can be used in a couple different ways as well. That's where we're going to start with. So a couple things that we see a lot of times is either a hip shift in the squat or lack of control of the knee. So a lot of these can come down to glute VMO, either firing, not firing, balance of each other. And so we can correct that a lot of times with our split squat. So first we're going to start out by covering the basics of a split squat. So you're going to put one knee up on a bench, one leg, foot, and you want to make sure that the hips are facing square and forward, okay? And then we're going to go down and basically kind of squat with one leg, walk out, and you'll see this knee kind of drives back a little bit. Go ahead and come up. There we go. So that's the basic split squat. Again, we want to make sure that we're forward, and then let's go ahead and go again. And this last back leg should be drawing back a little bit. Brandon's a little tight. He's squatted the last 2 days in a row. But we want to make sure you can see that pulling back and not just dropping straight in. Okay? So if we want to talk about controlling the knee position, we really want to think about that in the split squat and actually controlling it with the foot. So this is where I would refer you to watching our advanced rooting technique. So again, this is not the standard tri-point rooting that most people refer to. This is our Kabuki Strength advanced rooting. And so if you're doing this, you would actually take your shoe off so you can really focus on planting and rooting to the floor using those techniques. And a lot of times that will control what's going on the hip. And it's a great time to practice that. And you can incorporate it in this movement and realize those results, and that can help you gain the control. It can also, again, that can help with this hip side shifting if you've got an imbalance one side to the other. Interesting. So Brandon, let's turn around for a second here. Your back, and pull up your shirt and do a squat. So this is a great way to assess if somebody has a shift to the side, because a lot of times you'll see the pelvis rotated either to the left or the right, upward and downward this way. And you can see it with the belt line. You can see Brandon's got just a hair bit going on right now, and we'll see if we can fix that. So how we do that in the split squat, I'm going to have Brandon face away from the camera here. Okay. So tip one is I'm going to poke Brandon in the butt right here and tell him to fill this spot up as he goes down. So fill that spot up as he goes down. Boom. Go ahead and come up. And now do it without thinking about that. Got a little bit of a raise there as he's going down, so if you can fill this up. Okay. All right. Next, another cue would be to have him physically grab this leg right here and rotate it externally into the socket. So go ahead and grab that leg. There we go. And you can see that nice even line as he's going down. Go ahead and switch to the other side. And do it again. Okay. So you can see I'm checking. If you're doing this by yourself, put a video camera behind you so you can see what's going on. If you see a distinct left-right tilt, that's where you're going to want to focus. If this right hip is high, as you're going down, you would put the right leg forward and you would rotate and try to draw that in to external rotation physically right here, just like this, drawing it in. So now you can combine all three of those. Take our advanced rooting, the external rotation, and then think about filling that spot where I had my finger in the glute. Fill that up as you go down. Load that area. And that can be a great correction to those side shift patterns. Okay, so again, rehab. This is a great rehab tool, especially if you can't put load on your back. It allows you to do some training that will definitely carry over very well to your squat and deadlift. We use this all the time when we've got groin tears or other stuff going on as just a body weight movement, getting really good firing patterns, and we'll move that into to our rehab process. Just body weight, depends on the reps, depends on what the client can handle. But I've had a number of injuries in my time that I've known for recovering very fast from, and I've often done this as one of my movements 3 or 4 times a day with body weight to speed up that healing process. So absolutely great for that. So now we're going to talk about using the split squat as a development tool. We just got to get stronger. But first, let's hit a couple key pointers. So one of the things we didn't address on the yet is keeping the torso in this nice neutral stacked position. Again, much like our squat and deadlift, or exactly like them, we want to be solid here, stacked above those hips, with never being able to bend or move. So neutral, braced core, and really focus on that. This makes this movement really challenging, but also makes you allowed to be able to do more. But if you do that, that'll also help with everything that's moving down below and it moving correctly. So to add load, you can simply grab some dumbbells. Works great, usually available in most gyms. But we like to, if you have the ability, to actually put a little weight up top. So a heavy chain like this, and you could add some dumbbells as well. I like the mixture of both. But this actually helps cue a lot of this core stabilization with this in here. So Brandon's going to go ahead and go down. Again, nice neutral spine all the way through, not giving. I'm checking his lats. He's got some engagement there as well. So we've got some good, clean movement. If you don't have a heavy chain, you could also get a strap, a chain, a rope, and hang some dumbbells or kettlebells off of it. Right there. And load some extra movement. So with this, we do something typical, like usually we do this with hypertrophy training. So it may be something like 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps would be a pretty common. You'll find this to be much more challenging than a heavy squat routine, actually. So plan to be fatigued. We want to make sure also as we're doing this that we control the transition point. So we don't want to go fast through the bottom. If you slow down the eccentric to concentric phases, here, we can get a much greater load on all that posterior chain, the glutes, the hammies, even the adductors. If you make it really fast and you bounce through the bottom, it just becomes a very quad dominant movement, and we're not getting the effects that we're wanting from this. This is also important if we think about this from a movement preparatory standpoint. So movement preparatory, again, we want to get everything firing and working together correctly. So we may do a single set of 10 per side on a leg, or maybe a couple sets, usually just body weight without load for our movement prep. That way we get everything firing and moving and grooving properly. You definitely, if you're going to do those, if movement prep, you're going to want to make sure that everything is clean. You're focused on that core stabilization, neutral spine, firing. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you've got any of the shift or tilt stuff cleaned up. It's also a great way to actively mobilize the other side. While you're working the left side, you can be actually stretching and mobilizing the right side. So Brandon, do you have anything to add?
That pretty much covers it. I mean, this is one of our go-tos that can really do a lot of things, depending on what you want it to do. We can use it as a corrective, rehabilitative, and strengthening. For our corrective and rehabilitative clients, we're almost exclusively starting with body weight training and working up from there. Strengthening is a little different, and it really depends on the athlete's current abilities. But as Chris was finishing up, it is kind of a mobilizing and strengthening tool all in one. If we really wanted to, we could hang out in that bottom position and work hip extension while still working ankle dorsiflexion at the same time. And that's one of the really unique exercises. And there's not many, if any, that I can think of that would do those two similar things. Not that you want to spend a ton of time doing that pre-training. Post-training, off days, outside of the training window, might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.